Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about package managers. So what package manager do you use? There's a lot of them. There's NPM, there's PNPM, there's Yarn, there's Yarn 2 or Yarn Modern, then there's also Ban. So if you have a lot of time on your hands, there's a lot of things you can consider before switching package managers. So you can consider their speed, their support, the features they have, or even how much storage they consume. So the purpose of this video is to sort of do a review of all these package managers. Not a deep review, but just go through the features. And then if you see features that you like about the package managers, then maybe I can help you choose. So I'm not going to do a deep dive on each of these package managers one after the other. I'm just going to highlight a feature of them, if it's good or if it's bad, and then you can choose for yourself. So let's start with NPM. So NPM is the most popular package manager. So that's because it ships with Node. You don't need to install NPM because it comes pre-built into Node.js. So if you haven't heard of any of these other choices that I've mentioned, you are probably using NPM. So of these 5 package managers, NPM is the slowest. So that means NPM does a lot of operations when installing applications. So for example, I've already installed dependencies using all these package managers. So when I run npm install, it should install from cache, right? So let me just remove the node modules directory and then try to run npm install. Let's just have a rough outlook of how long it takes to install dependencies. So even with the cache enabled, it has installed the 168 packages in 9 seconds. So if I had more packages, it will take longer. So let's just try the speed of all these others. So let's start with PNPM. So let's remove the node modules and then install dependencies. So with PNPM, still using the cache, does it in about 3 seconds, more than twice as fast as NPM. So let's try Yarn. So we remove the node modules and then we install. So with the cache enabled, takes about 4 seconds. Still twice as fast as NPM. Let's try Yarn 2. So I'm going to highlight this a little later, but Yarn 2 works a bit differently. Has no node modules folder. So you just run the yarn install command and it knows how to resolve the dependencies. So does it in 2 seconds. That's 4 times faster than NPM. And then finally, we try Ban. So we remove the dependencies and then we install them again. Ban is even more faster than all of them. So this does it in 74 milliseconds. So just a quick test, NPM is the slowest of these installers. So if you're looking for speed, you have to leave out NPM. NPM has greatly improved, by the way. It used to be much worse than it is right now. If you're using NPM versions below 7, chances are your installation speeds are just terrible. But anything above version 7, you get improved caching mechanisms and improved install speeds. So NPM is as good as the others. It's just that it really insists on making network calls instead of checking their cache first, and also other design decisions that affect its install speed. So let's go to PNPM. Why is PNPM faster than NPM? Well, if you go to NPM and then you list their node modules, so let's list the node modules folder. You can see that all the node modules are displayed in this folder. So you get a sort of a flat file structure of the modules used in our project. So if you look at our package.json file here, we have 6 dependencies, but inside the node modules folder, there are maybe hundreds of dependencies. So that's because our dependencies also have dependencies, and maybe their dependencies also have other dependencies. So NPM extracts those dependencies and puts them each in their own folder under the node modules directory. That's why you have a lot of files here. And maybe that's why it takes so long to extract these dependencies and also copying all the files and creating folders and downloading files and all that. But what about PNPM? So if we look at the node modules for PNPM, you can see that the files are vastly less than NPM. So that's because NPM uses a different folder structure than NPM. So PNPM uses symlinks. So instead of putting everything under node modules, they put everything under the .pnpm folder. So each module that your project uses is stored in its own folder under the PNPM folder. So that folder is the module and the version. And why did I mention symlinks? So if we list the node modules folder in detail like that, you'll notice that the choke module that we use here, for example, is symlinked to .pnpm folder inside the choke folder for version 5.3.0 inside its node modules folder, and then another choke folder. So they're just symlinks of the exact locations of the files. So using symlinks is much better than the flat folder structure because there is less operations involved in creating symlinks. And also, inside the PNPM folder, each of the dependencies have their exact versions put there. So for example, for the dependency ESLint 9.4.0, if you have any of your nested dependencies using the ESLint 9.4.0, PNPM won't need to download it. It will just check inside its cache and check that it already has a symlink to this exact version of the dependency. There's no need for it to download it. So it won't make that extra network call. So this allows PNPM to only have one copy of one version of a dependency. So with the NPM approach, you may have multiple versions of the same dependency in different folders. So copied in the node modules folder in different locations. So that affects your disk size. So you get duplicate files, which means your disk size is affected. But with PNPM's approach, there's less duplication. So there's less wastage of your disk space and also faster installs because of the unique versions of your dependencies stored. So what about Yarn? Why is it faster than NPM? So if we inspect the node modules folder for Yarn, it's mostly similar to the NPM approach. So you still get the flat dependency structure. But where Yarn supersedes NPM is that Yarn has a different lock file system. So with NPM, it uses a package lock.json file. So this is just a JSON file of all the packages and then their dependencies. So for each package can also have a dependencies key inside. So the way this is designed is you can have the same package appearing multiple times in the package JSON file and also maybe installed multiple times. But with the yarn.log file, it has a list of all the packages used in your project and their versions. So you just get a list of this package with the version, where to download it. This package version, where to download it. And then it's just a list up to the bottom. So this combined with its own log file resolution algorithm, you get that when you use Yarn, if I copy my project that uses Yarn and go to run it on a separate computer, or I send it to someone who downloads it in their computer and runs Yarn install on their computer, they will get the same exact dependencies that I use. There will be no mismatches of dependencies. So with NPM, problems that are very easy to come across. But with Yarn, you can't come across those problems because of this Yarn log file. So this combined with the fact that Yarn also gives priority to locally cached modules instead of having to make that extra network call to resolve modules. So if you already have the modules installed locally, Yarn doesn't make the extra network call to download those modules or to even check the version. So it's offline fast. That's why installation is faster than NPM in that aspect when you're installing from cache. So Yarn also has some features that are not available in other package managers like NPM or PNPM. So for Yarn, for example, you can run Yarn upgrade interactive to be able to upgrade specific versions of your dependencies one by one. So right now I don't have any dependencies to upgrade, but with this you can choose dependencies to upgrade one by one. It doesn't like check and upgrade all dependencies for you automatically. And another feature, if you're interested in, you can also inspect the licenses of your dependencies. So via Yarn licenses ls, you get a list of all your packages and the licenses that they use if you need this information. So this is not available on other package managers as far as I know. So another thing, Yarn has two versions. So you have the normal Yarn that a lot of people use, that is the Yarn 1, which is called Yarn Classic. But there's also Yarn version 2, which is called Yarn Modern. So this is the modern version of Yarn. And the differences between these versions is enormous. So one, the Yarn version 2 doesn't have node modules. It doesn't store modules in the node modules folder. So it has like a separate global cache where the modules are put. So when you install dependencies, let's go to Yarn 2 here. So when you install dependencies, the list of all your dependencies and their versions and where to find them is put in this .pnp.cjs file. So PNP stands for Yarn plug and play. So this is a feature of Yarn. So with the yarn PNP, you can be able to use one yarn cache across multiple projects or multiple disks. So it's a feature that can also reduce drastically the disk storage you use, because with your several apps sharing the same global cache, your disk usage drastically drops because there's no duplication between modules. So with the Yarn 2 is not just this feature of using the plug and play. You can actually opt out of this feature. The interesting thing with the Yarn 2 is you can actually use PNPM features or the NPM features inside here. So with PNPM, we saw that the modules are sim-linked. So instead of storing your modules in the global cache, you can actually use the sim linking feature with yarn 2. So all you need to do is update your .yarn_rc.yml file here with the node linker property. So you can tell it, I want you to use a PNPM to link the modules. So if I run yarn install, it will detect that I want to use the PNPM linker. And then if you look under your files, you can see that now we have a node modules directory. And if you inspect the node modules directory further, you'll notice that, we are using the symlinks, the same way PNPM works. So it's very robust in its feature set. There's a lot of things it does that I'm not going to look into. But if the idea of having a global cache or being able to switch between PNPM or NPM features in just one package manager intrigues you, then you can go look into yarn 2. So lastly, let's go to burn. So why is burn faster than NPM? So of all the tests that you have done here, burn has been the fastest. So all these package managers use the local cache to install packages if they find it. But burn goes to extreme lengths to reduce network requests to NPM. So if you install a package once, you will never install it again with burn, whether you delete your node modules folder or not. And burn is not just a package manager. So the difference between all these is that all these are just specifically package managers, but burn is a runtime in itself with a package managing feature. So you can use burn with a lot of things like running TypeScript without having to configure your apps at all, or mixing ES modules and common JS modules without caring if burn will throw an error or not. So it's very robust in its feature set. But in package installation, it's one of the best choices you can have, especially when you're going to install packages in places like CI environments where you want the installation to be as fast as possible. So before I close, I want to highlight a particular installation feature, and that is the installing peer dependencies. So all of these package managers manage peer dependencies different from the others. So let's start with NPM. So let's say I want to install the React Native package. So the React Native package requires that I have a specific React version installed. So that's what peer dependencies are. So peer dependencies are dependencies that the package does not install itself. It passes the installation decision to the host. So for example, the host package here is our little app here. So we have to install React in our app here so that React Native can use it. It doesn't install it by itself. So when we install packages with NPM, so because NPM is installing this outside of the cache, it really takes its sweet time to finish this. So actually, while NPM is installing here, let's also try the same command with the PNPM and other package managers so that we can compare them. So with PNPM, we run PNPM install React Native, and for yarn, we yarn add React Native. For yarn 2, I think this will behave same as yarn. So let's just go to burn. So burn, we do burn add React Native. And then we can observe the difference between the three package managers. Okay, so let's start with NPM. So I mentioned that React Native requires that you have React installed, right? So let's just confirm. So React Native package. So let's look at their package.json file. So if you look at their package.json file, you'll get that requires two peer dependencies at types React and React, but at times React is an optional dependency. So I have not installed React in my application here. So how did npm handle that? Did it install the peer dependency for me, or did it skip it? So let's look at the version of the dependency they want. So it wants React 18.2.0 to be installed. So if we look at our installed modules here, we go to React, you'll notice that it has been installed for me, and the version is 18.2. The correct version of React has been installed for me. So npm has installed the peer dependency for me by default. So what about PNPM? So if you go to the PNPM install, you'll get warnings on the peer dependencies. So you get a warning here, issue with peer dependencies found. So React Native, they're saying you're missing React 18 or the Babel preset env dependency here. So all these dependencies are missing, and the peer dependencies that you should install are this and this. So you have to manually install these two packages for the React Native package to work, because it is required by the package itself. So there's two ways you can solve this. You can install these dependencies and the problem will be fixed. But also PNPM can also go the way of npm and automatically install these peer dependencies for you. But you have to configure this. So you have to run pnpm config set auto install peers to true. So if this is set to true, then if we run pnpm install, it will automatically find these peer dependencies and install them for us. So that feature is available by default in npm, but with pnpm, you have to configure it to get it to work. So you can see the install completed successfully. So what about Yarn? So Yarn, you can see, has completed installation. Let's just quickly check if the React dependency has been installed. So you can see the React dependency is missing. So Yarn doesn't install the peer dependencies for us by default. And if you go to the install logs, you will see warnings on these peer dependencies. So you will see the warning here, React Native has unmet peer dependency React, or the Babel core peer dependency here. So the Yarn error messages are a bit unintuitive. They're not the same as the PNPM error messages or the warnings here. So you have to scroll through the install logs to see why your dependency is not being installed or is not available. And the problem with Yarn is you can't override this. So with peer dependencies, you have to manually install them. So this is a choice they made, and you can't automatically install peer dependencies. So to fix this, you have to manually install the Babel dependency. So you have to do Yarn add the Babel dependency and React, I think it was 18 dependency, and any other dependencies that need to be added for your package to work. So that with Yarn, you have to do it manually. So what about Burn? So let's just check quickly if the React module has been installed. And yes, we get the React peer dependency by default. So with npm and with Burn, you get the peer dependencies without any configuration. But with npm, you have to enable it by a configuration option. And with Yarn, you have to manually install that dependency. I know I've not covered everything, but I hope I've covered the important things you need to consider when using these dependencies. So I hope this was educative to you guys. So thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.